Hello everyone, welcome back to CSS Learning, and my name is Taser. So like you see on my screen, last week we have learned CSS image and background image. So we talk about the PNG JPEG as a raster, and also I use the SVG, the vector-based file, for my logo. And also if you use a CSS background image, we have more control. We can play with the background sizing and we can repeat as a pattern. And also at the end, we talk about it like a clipping our image background and then to the text. So that will be background clip using text, and also the transparency if you lower it down. So we're gonna have this masking effects. So that's what we have learned last week, guys. So if you missed it, go back to the YouTube channel, check it out. And also support to the channel, subscribe it, share it, like it. So thank you for your support. And then this week we have a lesson content that I have prepared. So that will be like a part 8 CSS learning. So this ongoing series, and we're going to talk about it flex box or flex so the item or basic concept today. So if you say flex, we have a flex directions that we need to know first. So that will be going left and right or horizontal. So that will be main, exits, or row. And also we have like a top and bottom. So that will be vertical, and then like cross exits. So we call it vertical. And also the other thing is a flex container or flex like the item. So that will be, we have structure our flex as a container in our HTML element as a parent, and also we have a flex item as a child element. So we have different CSS properties to apply to individuals. So that will be flex direction, flex wrap, and flex flow. And also we have a flex basics like growing, like a shrinking. So that's we're gonna talk about it. And also good thing about flex is that you can distribute it, the flex item quickly without writing much codes, so you can have 1 or 2 lines and then you can distribute it. So that's why we need to learn so the flex, and then we have align item, align content. So and then also we can align it distribute it to vertically. We have a justifying content so that we can have a horizontal alignment, and then that will be main exit alignment. And also I will show a little bit Figma how we can distribute our Figma object horizontal and vertical too. So that will be our lesson content for this week, guys. So to get started, back to your Visual Studio Code. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna start building our a flex a container or parent element. So that will be in our HTML element, so go to your index.html, and then I will add my a flex item or flex container in between this after the icon and then the text, so to do that, back to your HTML. So here I'm going to type it the normal way. What we used to do is that we would just type it a div and then press tab key. So and then go back to your div. I'm going to add it class attribute, and then I will type it as a name. But for now I want to show a little bit so the shorthand for our Visual Studio Code writing tip, so that will be start with your div same. But before you press tab key, so continue with the dot and then give your class name. So our a flex container parent element name will be what if we just say my dash, and then give it my flex. And then now you can press tab key, bang, now you have this a little bit quick way to set it up. So that's a good so to have a little bit a productive, so. And also I will continue with the same technique. So I will add my a flex item or flex child to my a container. So to do that, I will type it a same technique, div and then dot, and then continue with your a class name. So that will be, I will give it a generic as a flex child as an item, and also I will have a little bit specific a class, one more a class name. So to do that, continue with the dot, and then I'm going to give it that will be 1. So what I'm doing is that if I press tab key, so I'm going to see this div setup with the item class, and then one more class, so that will be 1. So in CSS or HTML, if you want to add a class, so you have to use a space. So let's say if you want to add one more class name, let's say if a class, so that will be using your space, and then you start typing your class name. So that's the way to set it up. But like I show you, if you use a div dot, and then we're gonna set it up very quick, and then I can add it a p, and then a little reference text. So that will be 1. So if you say 1, so we're gonna have it that way. And then I'm gonna continue with the div, so that will be dot, and then I'm going to say like same thing, item dot, and then I'm going to give it specify a little bit child item 2, press tab key. Now we have this like element 2 is set up, and I'm going to give it like a text to be 2. It's the same thing. I'm going to set it up here, so that will be div, and then I'm going to give it like a item and then dot, so that will be 3, and then press tab key, and text will be 3, and then go to your next line. So the last one will be 4. What if we set up like a 1 2 3 4, you know, so that will be div dot, and then item, and then dot, that will be 4. So if I press tab key, so now we're gonna have it like a setup with your parent text will be like a p, that will be 4. So now we have completed with the like a flex, like a container and a flex child element item, set it up. And now you can see that in my browser, like a 1 2 3 started appearing. But for now, I mean, it's not the flex. So to do the flex, so if you remember, I mean, if you see that in my like the fixed top menu, you know, so we have this UL, we use a flex. So that's why if you go back to your like this top menu, we use a display flex so that we can see like a little bit flex in our top menu. It's the same technique. I mean, the same thing. If you want it flex for your item, let's say here 1 2 3 4, you want it flex, you have to declare as a flex in your parent or your like a flex container. This is like a main, like this is the div is wrapping, you know, my flex is wrapping everything. So go back to your CSS, and then what I'm gonna select is a parent container, that will be my dash flex, and then I'm gonna declare, so that will be display as a flex. So if I save it, bang, now you're gonna see it. So that's how quickly we can set it up. So you declare it in your parent container, so that will be, you will become a one row flex. And then like I said, I mean, like the good thing about flex is that you can quickly distribute it. So to do that, what if we just type it like for instance, you know, so that will be justifying content. So if I say like I mean, what if we just say like a space between, so if I save it, now you can see that it quickly spread it out and then fit into my screen, even if a smaller screen and then larger screen, so it will fit to the like a, I mean, the container, you know. So that's a good thing about like a flex. I mean, we don't have to think about much, and then we can quickly spread it out, distribute it. So that's why we need to learn. Okay, so before we continue, I want to like delete everything and then keep it flex, and then also I want to add a little bit margin to the bottom and top, you know. So to do that, margin top like a 50 pixel so that we can see, and also margin bottom so that we can see a little bit bottom thing, so that will be 50 pixel. So if I save it, now you can see a little bit gap. Okay, so back to my content. So whenever we say like a flex, so flex has a direction. I mean, we talk about like a row, and then we have a column. So that will be horizontal and the vertical, you know. So in technical, we have main axis and we have a cross axis. So, but right now, if I declare flex, so it becomes a row. So the thing is, there's like a default like CSS. If we do not define our specific value, you know, so it has a default value set it. So that will be a flex direction. Now it's default is a row. So that's why we are like seeing that, like if you save it, like you can see that the default is a row. But like I said, we can change it to the like a vertical, you know. So to do that, I can change my flex direction. So just change it like a column. If you save it column, if I save it, bang, now you're gonna see like a 1 2 3 4 as a column. And then it's not just for a row. I mean, like we can change our flex direction to the column. So now we can align it, we can like play around, you know. So that's like I mean, like so the default, and then you can change your value. And also the other thing, I mean, like so like in the flex direction. So right now we are building our like a website for English language, you know. What if we are building like a different languages? I mean, like sometimes, let's say instead like Arabic, I mean, they are reading from the like right to the left. I mean, it will start to the end, you know. So to do that, so in flex we can quickly accomplish it. So to do that, so that will be flex direction. If I say row reverse, so if I save it, now you can see that 4 3 2 1 instead of the 1 2 3 4. That's how, I mean, the quick way to set it up. So that, I mean, so if you're Arabic building up for your website, so now, I mean, so that's gonna read it that way. And also same thing for column, I can do that, flex like direction, I can put it like a column reverse. So if I save it, now you can see that it starts with 4 instead of a 1. So 4, 3, 2, 1 is going down. So that's how like we can quickly set it up in Flex. So that's the first thing. The Flex direction is not just for row. We can play around, and also I will put it back my Flex direction as a row. So to do that, so that will be row to like as a normal. Okay, so the other thing is like the next one is Flex wrap. So to see the Flex wrap, I want to better illustration. So I will add like a little bit width and height to my Flex item. That will be Flex child. And also like what if we just added like a little bit background too. So to select it, the child element, so if you remember, I set it up with the item class as a generic in every child. So I'm going to select my dot item, and then also I'm going to say like a background color. What if we just say a little bit pinky? So pink. If I save it, so continue with the width and height. So I'm going to give it a little bit width and height too. So what if we say like a width to be like 300 pixel, and also height to be like 300 pixels. So if I save it, now you're gonna see it like the Flex item has like a width and height. So, and also like what if we like keep it a little bit gap if you want to see gap in your Flex, so individual box, so without a gap we don't see, it's a one whole block. So to do that, I can declare a gap in your parent container. So we cannot do the gap in your the child element, so we have to go back to our Flex container and then declare your gap. So that will be gap and then 10 pixels. So if I save it, now you're gonna have a little bit like a separate individual block, and then we're gonna have a little better illustration. So now like I said, so we give like a width and height as a 300 pixels. And then if I make it a little bit larger screen, now you can see that. So I believe that that's a little bit near to the 300 pixel. So we can see a little bit spreading. So that's because of a Flex. So it's a shrinking and then growing because its name is like a Flex, it's a flexible. So we have a container bigger and then it will flexible, stretch it. And if a smaller container or screen, it's flexible and then it will stretch it or shrink it. So now definitely this is not the correct size for our element. So I gave my element as a 300 pixel. So now the only way to fix our accuracy for our size is using the Flex wrap. So go back to your parent container. So the default is Flex wrap is if I say like a Flex wrap, the default is no wrap. So if the value is a no wrap, if you save it, it will be default, and then it will be the same. Like you see on my screen, So what if we just change the value? So and also before we change it, I want to show you really to measure it. So I can do the screenshot and then bring it to a Figma. But instead, what if we just do the developer to see things? So go to your browser, any browser. I'm using the Firefox. Right click and then go to inspect and then look for this tab. For me it's a layout tab. And then select your individual any element. Let's say 3. And then now go to this tab like layout. We have this a Flex box. You can see that if you do not see it like a Flex item, you just click it, that will be bring it up. And then now you can see the final size. It's a 262.5. It's not even like a 300 pixels. So now we got a problem. We are not getting the right size that we wanted. So now, like I said, so the only way is that even if I make it a little bit smaller screen, it's more worse, so now we're not getting the size that we want. If you go to the final size, 105, a little bit larger screen, now 137. So that's not the way we want it. So now, like I said, to fix the problem, now we change the Flex wrap. So that will be Flex and wrap. I'm gonna change it to that will be wrap. If I say Flex wrap, bang, now you can see that. So the thing is we have this wrapping, and then so if I make it larger screen, so I have 3 Flex item in one line, and then the next line is only one item. So the thing is when I say like a flex wrap, so the concept is so it will make a priority to your child element width and height, make a priority size to be accurate, and then it will cut it to the next line. So let's say if I make it a little bit larger, so if I have a big enough screen size or width and height, and then it will like increase my a flex item as a 2. If I have larger screen, big enough, it will increase to the 3. And then at the end, I said my the red container, if you remember, we set it 1,200. It's not enough. Let's say we have 300 for individual flex items. So if we multiply, that will be 900. And then it's not big enough because we have a margin padding. So that's why it will cut to the next line. So that's why if you do the smaller screen, whenever it has a big enough for our flex individual item, it will be keeping us a 2 item in one line. And then if not enough, it will cut it to the next line. So the problem is, so the thing is, the priority give to the flex item as accuracy, so 300 pixels. So same thing, let us measure it. So go to your browser, right click, inspect it, and then I can do the do the 3 individual. So you go to your layout tab and then go to your final size, and then now you can see that it's a 300 pixels. So this time we got it very accurate, and then only the flex wrap is helping to get the accuracy. It's the same thing if you do the smaller screen. If I right click it, so you're gonna see the same thing if you do that a little bit that way, so now you're gonna see that. Go to layout tab, flex, and then go to the final size. You have to select it any a flex item, and then you can see that final size is 300 pixel. So that's the way to get the accuracy for your flex item with the flex wrap guide. So that to get started. And also back to our content. So we have a little bit shorthand. That will be combining flex direction and flex wrap. So to do that, in your flex parent container, I can do the shorthand for 2 values. So to do that, so we can say flex, and then that will be flex flow. So if I say flex flow, I can combine it direction. I can do the row or column. And also I can do the wrap or no wrap. So if you to test it out, if I say no wrap, so I can do that. There's a no wrap. And also if I say a flex flow, and then so that will be so that will be row. I can do the column, if you want it, you can do the, if you test it out, column, and then if you wrap it up. So what if we just say wrap it? So now you can see the 1 column, and then even in the bigger screen, so you're gonna have a 1 column because we define the flex direction as a column. So that's why we're gonna get it that way. And also you're gonna wrap it. But the shorthand, so that will be flex flow. We can combine it direction and wrapping in a 1 code. So that's one thing to know as well. But for us now, I'm gonna keep it no wrap. So sorry, I will keep it wrap, and then I'm gonna do it so row, so that will be starting point. And also, what if we just give a little bit border to our a parent container, because that will be better, because we're not seeing any a parent container. Where is it? So to do that, go to your parent, my flex, and then border. I'm gonna put it 1 or maybe 1 pixel, and then solid, that will be blue. So if I save it, so now we can see that little container. We do not define any width and height. It's an auto. So that will be fitting your container. So that will be, keep it that way for now. Okay, so the next one will be so we have learned direction, wrap, a flex flow. And also the other thing is keeping our properties in our child element. So that will be flex basics, and then flex grow and shrink. So to do that, so to back to your Visual Studio Code. So what I'm gonna do is to illustrate better, I'm gonna define width and height to my a parent container, so that we can see a grow and shrinking, So to do that, go to your parent container. So I'm gonna type it width. So that will be, what if we just say a little bit to test it out, to start with the grow, So now I give an individual 300 pixel. What if I do that a little bit like a 2 item, that will be 600, and then 650. So that definitely we can have a little bit bigger container for 2, like a 2 item in one line, you know. So if I save it, so 260 pixel, and also height, I can do that. So height to be, what if we just say a little big enough? So what if we say like even we can put it like a 800 pixel, you know, so we can do that. So if I save it, now you can see that a little bit started appearing. So with the, if I define my width and height, now you can see that a little bit different. So the flex is I'm not changing anything, just changing my width and height. You can see things are like a flex is it will follow, like make a priority as a parent container. It will do the flexible for our parent container. Now you can see that it's becoming like a little bit like a cutting to our container, you know. It's not like a stretching to the full, because we define my width and height for my like a parent container. So I will stretch out a little bit. So, and also this one, squeeze a little bit. Okay, so and then now, like I said, so the flex basics, so and then grow and the shrink, you know. So to start with the basics, so the flex basics, if you declare as the flex basic, so it has to be in the child element. You cannot do the flex basic in your parent element. So to do that, go to your item. So I can declare like a flex basic. So that will be, if I say flex basic as the default is auto. So if I say auto, so you're gonna see it like an auto, and then it changed, so nothing, it changes nothing, you know. So like you see on my screen, but I said like instead of the flex basic as an auto, so I'm gonna change it like flex dash, like the basics. So I'm gonna say like instead of I can say any value, you know. So like beside from auto, say 0. If I save it, now you can see that flex basics. So it becomes like so the thing is if you have the follow your text or your content, you know, because we have 1 text a little bit short, 2, and then 3, 4. So if I change it what if we just say 3, and then if I type it like a 3, like a flex, so I'm gonna see like a little bit, like if I save it. So if you go back to your styling, so that will be, sorry, the class to be 3 also, sorry guys, so I have to change it in my text. So that will be 3 flex. So that will be 3 flags. If I save it, now you can see a little bit. If I, now it's a cutting, you know. So but it's like I said, it depends on my like a container, and then now you can see a little bit bigger text. It is following to my text. So that's why we can see that if you like a display a flex as a basic. So let me remove it back. So the basic is it is like a keeping your text or your content as a priority, and then all the background or might be flexes like fitting or shrinking to your element. So like I said, if you say auto, so we can go back to the auto, and then if I comment it out, so we can go back to the auto. If I save it, now you can see that. So flex basic auto is defining my width and height as a priority, and then keeping the child element, the accuracy. So that's the same thing as a default, and then we can keep it as a auto. If you do the 0, so flex basics is keeping your 1 or 2. So all these flex the text or element as a priority, you know, that will not follow your width and height. So that's a flex basics guy. And also flex grow and shrink. So let's say now you can see that the thing is I have a little bit what if we just a little bit put it like a little bigger width, you know. So instead of 650, gonna put it like a 700 pixel for my parent container. So you can see that now it's getting bigger and bigger. Okay, so so I can do the flex grow and shrink in my item, you know. So because I give an item in everywhere. So let's say if I give it like a grow, so let's say that will be flex grow to start with shrink and grow, you know. So grow, if I say grow has the default is grow will be, if I say a 0, if I save it, so that's a default. So default value is does not grow, but I change from 0 to positive value. If I say 1, if I save it, now bang, you can see that. So I have a parent container, so it is 700 pixel, and then my child is a 300 pixel. If I use a grow 1, So actually it's a 600 cut it here, but now you see that, so it will follow to the parent container and it will stretch it or it will flex it to the left and right and then making fitting to our container. So that's a flex grow. So now, I mean, like, so you might be thinking, well, instead of the declaring our styling to our so the child element in as a generic, in item class attribute. What if we just build it up individually? So we went to grow. So now you see that. So if I declare in my item that 1, 2, 3, and 4 is growing equally. So it's a grow equal. But what if I want it a little bit dynamic? I will grow 2 item only. I will not grow my child 1. So to do that, I have a specific class to to style it. So I will remove from here. So what I can do is go to your individual class name. So that will be, we have given our class name, if you remember. So that will be a 4, 3, 2, 1 here. So I'm going to select it individual class. So that will be 1. What I can do is if you want it a grow and shrink for individual, so that way we can do that. So that will be 2. I'm selecting all the a child element, and then I'm going to select it. That will be 3, and then I'm selecting, and then also that will be the other one will be 4. So if you say 4, and then I'm going to select it. Okay, so like I said, so I will not grow everything because right now it's growing everything. If you measure it, go to your developer tool and then select your any item. So the final size is 344. So you see on my screen. So because it grew, and it's grew, so it grew, and then flex it, stretch it. So that's why that's final size is 344. So if you combine it, that will be 700. So we have a gap as well, So that's why. So now the point is I want to keep what if I want to keep one item. So its name is a 1, So one item has a 300 pixel accuracy, and then I want to grow the second 2 element growing so stretching to the full. So to do that, I can declare my .1 specifically. So that will be flex grow, and then I'm gonna put it I don't want to grow in my item 1, So that will be 0 because you don't want to grow it. That will be 0. If you want to grow, that will be any positive value. So I'm gonna say save it. So now you can see that my grow is not growing anything because I remove from here as well, So 1 is not growing, 3 is not growing, anything is not growing. But like I said, okay, this time I want to see the the second item or item 2 to grow. To fit it, to flex it, to stretch it to the full to my parent container. So to do that, I'm going to declare a flex grow as a positive value. So that will be 1. If I save it, bam, now you can see that. So that 1 is maintained as 300 pixels, but now 2 is not the same. If you want to go to a developer 2, so to measure it back and then select your a 2, and then now you can see final size is 388, and then if you go to the 1, and then now you can see 300 pixels. So that's so a little bit dynamic that flexing we can play around. Let's say you have a little bit a picture or image gallery, you want it a little bit dynamic, a pattern. So you can build it that way. As you can grow one item, you can shrink it the one item. So that's the way to do it. So now you can see that flex grow is I define it a 2 to be grow. It's the same thing. Let's say what if I want to grow 3, so a little bit dynamic, So now I'm gonna put it a 3 to grow. So to do that, flex grow, and then I'm gonna put it I want to grow it. So but to do that, what if we just say grow to be a 3, 1, and then I can do that a 4. So that will be flex grow. If I do not set it, the default is a 0. So you see on my screen. So if I set it, I can set it to, so that grow will be 0. The default is 0 too. So if I save it, so now you can see that flex is so 4 remain as a 300 pixel. If I stretch it to the full screen, now you can see that 300 pixel, it will remain. And then if I have like the container is big, so the item 3 will be grow, and then it will stretch it. So that's how we can play around. So they're using the grow and shrink. And also it's the same thing. So if you want it really see a little bit different, what if we make it instead of 700, so we can put it 800, and then we can give a little bit bigger screen for this one. And then so that way, so now you can see that. So in the bigger screen, you can see 1 is maintained as a 300 pixel, 2 will grow it, and then 3 it will it grew, and then 4 remain as 300 pixel. So that's how we can grow and then the flex item. And also what about the shrink? So shrink is the same technique. We can shrink it down. So let's say I have a parent item, so let's say if I will keep it the same thing. So if I have a parent like a container, let's say for now, if you use it, so now the one element, so you might be thinking that, okay, we're gonna string it down. So if you say a flex string, and then so whenever you do that a positive and a 0 value, so it has already added a string and value. You might be thinking for instance, if I say string 1, so that's a string is already applied. So if you go to a flex grow, and then you apply it instead of the 100, 1000, it doesn't matter. You just put it a positive any value, it will grow, and then it will do the multiply, and then it's already applied. So that's how it works. So you don't have to be so instead of the 0, so put it any number, it's gonna grow it that way, and then it will multiply it so if you grow it a 2, let's say a 4 and 3, you can grow. But for us, so if I say a 4 to be 0, so it will spread it, it's if it has a space to grow it, it will evenly space it out. If you apply to 2 items, if you apply to 1 item, so it will take over for only 1 item. So like I said, for string, so back to the string is I apply my flex string to my item 1, and it does not string it down. So if you see the larger screen, it does not string it down. You might be thinking if you go back to the flex basic, so if you do the flex basics, oh, that's a shrinking. So actually it's not correct. It's not a shrinking to so to the flex, because we have put it up. So that's not the way to shrink it down. It's not actually correct way to do it. So flex basic is we cannot play around, so it's mostly we're gonna use it as an auto. But to shrinking the flex is only you have a parent container, so that will be smaller than your a child element width and height. Let's say I put my child element 300 pixel, and then my parent container is a very big 800 pixel. But what if I just bring it down, the parent container to be 250? It's smaller than my a child element. So if I save it, so now you're gonna see automatically it shrink it down. I'm not declaring any the flex direction as a column, because automatically it shrink it down, and then it will fix to the the container. So now we can play around. Now you can see that. So this time we can play around. So let's say, so I have a flex. So to do that, so let's say, so now I have declared my item 1 as a shrinking 1. Like I said, you can declare a string 100. It doesn't make any difference. It's a positive value, or it has to be a 0. If you declare it this string to be 0, it's gonna be so it will not string, and then maintain your width and height for your a 300 pixel. So now if I say item 1 as a stringing 1, that will be string it to fit to my container. And then if I add my string, so that will be the default is a string 1, but I can define my a value, so I can play around. So but for item 2, I don't want to string it down. I want it maintain my width and height. So to do that, I can no string, that will be 1. 0 is a string. So sorry, that 1 is a string. I put it a 0, that will be no stringing. If I save it, so item 2 is not stringing. So now I can what if we move our box to the center? It's gonna be the same, So if I move my box, so let's say if I edit like a left, a margin left, to do that. So margin left, so I'm gonna put it like auto, and also margin right, so to my parent, so margin right as a auto. So if I save it, push it to the center, now you can see that the item 2, I am not declaring any a string, so I put it like a 0. 0 is a no stringing, so that will be maintaining 300 pixel. And also same thing if I want it like now you can see that a little bit like overshooting because the flex were not like the items are important, so like, later we're gonna fix it. So for item 4, I want to see the string to be like so no string, so I went to a little bit dynamic thing. So I go to the for selector, so go to your string grow, so flex grow, and then that will be, I'm gonna edit like a flex string. If I save it, I don't want to string it. The default is 1 is I'm gonna string it, that's a default, but I don't want it, put it 0, and then I can save it. Now you can see that it does not string. You can see that's the way to play around. So now you get the idea, you can play around. So if you put it like a little bit parent, so if you edit more container, more parent, more flex, so you're gonna have it like a dynamic, like a flex that you can grow it, you can shrink it. If I make it a little bit, the height for our parent container, so that will be, go to your height instead of the 800 pixel. If you say like a height to be auto, so if I save it, so it will maintain my like a flex item as a priority. Now you can see a little bit growing some item, and then shrinking some item. So that's how the flex item is growing and then shrinking. If you want to grow it, so like I said just now, I show you, you have to your parent container has to be big enough to grow, and then also we can specifically we can define it for individual item to grow and shrink. So like you see on my screen, you make it like an individual class, and then you can define it that way. So to do that, what if so anything like a 3, I want it like a string, so that will be flex string. So I don't want to any stringing, so that will be, I want it so that will be 1 value as a default, so that will be string 1, so the 2 will be string 0, and then 4 will be string 0. So that's why now we are seeing the pattern here. So you can see that a little bit larger screen, so it's gonna be the same, it will be stay the same stringing, and also it will not be stringing. And also the other thing is that if you make it a little bit larger, so to do that, so what I can do is that I can play around with the width for my parent, so that will be instead of a 250, so if I play around, so what if we just put it like a 100 to see it? So that's the same thing, you can see that a little bit shrinking, and then the a 2 and 4, we don't want to string it. That's why if you give value to 1, so it will maintain it the same size, and then 1 and 3 will be shrink it down. So it's a little bit tricky. So if you want it a little bit dynamic pattern, so now you can set it up. So the way is if you edit one more div, you can set it up that way. So, and also what if we just do it so keep it as a grow, so that will be better. So I think grow is a little bit better to a parent thing, so what if we just put it 750 pixel? If I save it, now you can see that I added my item 1 a grow 0, and then item 2 I want to grow. That's why now item 2 is growing, and also I want it item 4 I want to grow 0, and then 3 I want it grow 1. So that's why it's growing. Like I said, even if you edit 100, it doesn't make sense, because you edit positive value, so it's gonna be affected. So make sure that 0 and 1 it's already affected. So that's how we can play around, guys. So, and also the shrinking is a little bit different. You cannot shrink it down if item a parent container is big, so just now I show you parent container has to be smaller than your the width and height for your item. So in case unless you remove the width and height value from your a child flex item, so if I remove it, so if I save it, then now you're gonna see it. So all things are like a shrinking. So now you can play around. So these are the so if you remove it, there's no width and height sizing, so now you can can grow it, you can shrink it. Let's say, I mean, like now 1 is a shrinking 1, and then if I don't want to shrink it, if I say 0, now you're gonna see that. So even now, I mean, like, so these are the following your like content element, you know. So that's I mean, like, so it's it has to be string 1, and then I'm gonna put it like 1. I have to be grow, and then I need to be shrink to be 0 to test it out. Yeah, now you can see that if I remove my width and height from my child element, if I want it like a string it as a one row, you know, like you see on my screen, so now I can play around like I do not have a width and height, fix it. So that's why now the other way the pattern is now you can play around like you see on my screen. So this time, so without fixing the like width and height sizing on your like I mean like the like a child element, you know, I can like define it. I mean, so now if I add flex grow 1 to be my item 1 and also string to be 0, so now it will be growing, and then it will like getting like I mean, so it will equally distribute it, because let's say if I put it like string to be 0 and grow 1 and also string to be 0, if I put it everyone the same value, so if I put it like grow 1 and then string 0, if I save it, now you can see that it will like distribute it. Like I said, I mean, like flexes are like equally distributed like quickly, and then string and grow is a same value. So like I said, if you want it a little bit dynamic, let's say parent, you know, so let's say 1 and 3 to be grow, and then 4 to be string, and also string it really shrink it down. So to do that, go to your one element, but you cannot have a width and height value your item, you know. That's a more important thing if you wanted that one row pattern. So you need to I mean, like I said, so we're gonna grow 1, and then we're gonna like a string like a 0, and also to the item 2 I want to string it down really down. So that will be, I can now define it. Let's say I want to string it down like more than 1, you know, so I can put it like 3. So 3 is not like a 3 pixel. I mean, if you say 1 is a 1 pixel, you know, but it's actually like I mean, so calculations that it will like the space like between, it will like I mean, like divide it like the factor as like a 3 will be like equally distributed, you know. So to do that, if I say 3, it will be divided by 3, and then item 2 I want to string it down, so that's why grow will be 0. If I say item 3 to be 3, sorry, the string to be 3, if I save it, now you can see that item 2 string really to the down, that's a 3. If I save it like I mean 5, I don't think 5 will be, because the text elements are minimum, you know. So I can do that. Let's say if I put it 2, yeah, so it's a little bit bigger. So what if I just say like a 1? If I say, yeah, it's the same. I mean, so it's gonna be really shrink it down. And also it's the same thing. The 4, I want to shrink it a little bit. So go to your 4. I don't want to grow. I want to keep it grow to be 0. I want to shrink down my item 4. So to do that, go to your string, and then this time, what if we test it out like a 0.5, you know? So if I say like yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, like, so if you get away from the 0 and then like start adding your positive value, it will be like a string it, you know. So like you see on my screen, it doesn't matter you add it like a 1, 2, 3, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that 0 or like a positive value 1, so that's it. So it's gonna be string it that way. So that's how we're gonna like grow and then string in our like a flex item. If the item has no fixed value, so that's important, so it will be that way. So now I mean, like, I can play around. So let's say if you have this like an instant, you know, I can go back to my like I mean, like, so HTML, copy the whole flex container or flex parent, edit one more container at the bottom. If I save it, I can have one more pattern here. So now I can play around. I mean, like, 1 to be string it down, you know. So it's the same method. This time I'm gonna change my flex like a class attribute, and then string 1 and then grow 2, so you can have a little bit dynamic pattern that you can play around. That's how flex we can use it, guys. I will not show you everything for now, so what if we just keep it that way? Okay, so like I mean, like, so keep in mind that we have two like I mean, like, so the flex container parent element and also like a child element to apply our CSS properties. I will put it back the like width and height from our child element, you know. So to do that width, so like I said, width will be 300 pixels, and also the height, so it has to be 300 pixel. So that will be a little better if we use a grow. So I mean, like you see on my screen. So if you want it back, what it want, I don't want to grow, I want to put it back to 0, like shrink it. So 1, even if it's I don't need to shrink it, you know, so it's a big enough for our parent container. And then 2, I want to grow, so that will be grow any positive value, and then string, so that will be, even if I put it like a 1 or like a 0, it doesn't matter, you know, so that will be string, that will be 1, I can keep it that way. So, and also we can put it like a 0, you know, so that will a little bit make sense. And also grow, so like I said, the parent containers will be priority. So 3, I want it like a grow, because a little parent, you know, so I want to grow and then shrink 0. The 4, I don't want to grow, I want to shrink, so that's a little make sense. Okay, so it's a reverse way, you know, so you want to grow will be 0, then shrink, and then 1 0, then 1 0, and then 0 1. If I save it, yeah, that will be a little bit better that we can play around. I mean, like, so 1 item remain as a 300 pixels, 2 will be grow, and then 3 item will make, I mean, like, a little bit better. So now, I mean, like, so we have learned a little bit like, I mean, like, pattern things, you know. So now even we can play around with the background image. I mean, like, last week we have learned, I mean, like, so what if we add a little bit background image so that we can see the pattern in here. So I have this like a pattern, so even I can go back to my parent container, so that will be width and height. So I can put it like even to the like I mean, like, what if we just put it, test it out like a 100%, you know, for our width, so for any screen. So yeah, so we can play around with it, but it's not really good. I mean, so because on a larger screen it doesn't make very good layout, so we just maintain it like a 750, and then larger screen also at the center, it's a little bit pattern we can see. Okay, so let me apply like I think that will be like a flex, you know, so you can apply it, and also vertical container we're gonna play around. So like I said, I can edit now like a background image. I mean, like, if you do that, so go to your like a 1, I mean, like, so it's a simply you can add a background image. So this time I'm gonna edit like a background image URL, even if we have learned, you know, so adding a background image, go to your folder and then select your photo. I mean, so that will be like I mean, that's the like a quick photo. So now you can have it this way. I mean, like, you can set it up quickly, you can set it up that way. I mean, like 1, and then 2, it's the same thing. I mean, I can go to the like a background image, so that will be like a URL and then image. So we're gonna have it like that will be like a quick photo. So, and then by the way, guys, so we have a quick meme, so that will be our photo 2. And also 3, I can like quickly set it up, so that will be our background image, and also the URL, and then image, and then I can go to the so the quick photo. If I save it, now you can have a little bit 3, same thing. If I edit, so background image, if I put it, and then like a URL and add your image, so that will be image, and then like mm-equate. So if I save it, so now you have a little pattern. And also, if you remember, we can play around with the size, we can like a pattern, everything, you know. Now you can see that a little pattern is like because I'm using the same like an image, you know, that's why you're seeing the pattern just like that. Okay, guys, so that will be a little bit like playing around with your flex item. I mean, like, so if you want it that way, we can do that. So a little bit dynamic like a photo gallery, you know, so you can do that. So by the way, we have a quick in Myanmar, so that's a little tribute, guys. Okay, so the other thing, so what we're gonna do is we have the content, you know, so that we need to talk about it like align item, align content, and also like I mean, let's justify content. So I mean, so if you go to the like let's say I will go back to my parent container, so to see the alignment, you know, so instead of putting the auto, so what I'm gonna do is I will set my height to be like a little bit like a big enough, so that will be what if we say like 800 pixels. So if I save it, yeah, so that will be a little bit long and then big enough. So now if I make it larger screen, so you can see that, so the text are a little bit gone for now. I mean, so even I can remove back my all the image, but what if we just keep it, yeah, a little bit preview, you know, so that will be better too. So we can do that. Okay, so like okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna have we can change the text if you want it, so to the center, you know, so you can like declare that like flex to the text. What if we just like go to your item and then just make it like this time flex again. So that will be display flex. For it's the same thing. We are using the flex after flex. You know, if you declare the flex to your child, and then because I went to center my like a 1, so to do that I can now justify item. So in flex item, it's the same for parent, same for container. So we can just simply say like so justify content to the center. If I save it, now you can see that my 1, 3, 4, all the text are started moving to the center. So that will be left and right moving, like I said in my content. So it's like a align item, align content. So honestly, this all are applying to our parent container. For now, you might be thinking, hey, why you're applying to the like a child element? Because if I say like a flex to my any item here, so the text element become child. So P becomes like a child element for my this class, so this div element. That's why I can declare my parent in the flex. That's why the child become as a flex item, and then I can apply my like a justify content. Now it's the same thing. If I do it the same thing way, if I do that like a justify, and then so that will be this time align item. So if I say to the center, so now I can quickly center all the text. Now you can see that 2, 3, 4 is becoming a little bit like a dynamic pattern that it will goes to the center, and I don't have to be think about too much. That if you want it that way, or if not, what I can do is I can do the instead of a center, I think we can have like other flex will be justify, I think center, and then like flex like baseline. If I do that, so it will go to the top, that will be stick to the top. So that's how we can play around with the align item. So for now, I will like move away from our like a child element, so you can forget about this too. So like I said, I can declare it flex to my child, and then the text element will become flex child element. So I will remove it. So back to my like keep it that way, you won't see anything. What if we just change the text? I think we can change it like item, and then so we go to the item, so that will be dot item, and then P, I believe. So we can do that. So that will be color. If I say like that will be flex item. Then if I change a P to be like a little bit color to be, what if we just say like white? If I save it, we can change that color that's that way. So that will be also this way. We can do the shadow as well, guys, if you want it. So that will be up to you. Okay, let's keep it that way right now. Even if like whatever, just change it instead of green. So to see the text, so that will be what if we just say like a blue? So I think I can say blue if I save it. So but white is better. So if I keep it white, so we're gonna keep it that way so we can center it. But like I said, like back to my content, we need to continue with the like align item, align content. So to do that, so like align item is like I said, it will go back to your parent container, and then that will be like my flex, and then to item that like so left and right like horizontally. Right now, so if I like so flex grow, and then like things are like fitting, so because I use a flex grow as like a fitting. So even if I apply left and right, it will not make any changes. So for instance, if I show you like in my parent container, so if I say like align item, so if I say for instance it's like a center, so if I save it, you won't see anything. So that will be align item. So sorry guys, that will be align items will be like going like a top and bottom. So if go back to my container, so align items and align content, it will be cross axis, it will be vertical alignment. It's true. So if I use an align item, and also my parent container is big enough, so you see that there's a gap, and then I can play around. So to do that, so what I can do is let's say like like give it more width and height, so that will be 800 and then 900 if I save it. So if I see that like so we have this align item will be distribute equally, and then it will be maintained as a little bit like a gap. Because we have this gap distributed here, so that will be that way. That will be align item, and then also I can do that. So it's the same thing. If I say justify content. So to study, you know, what if we just keep it like a content, you know, so that will be like a align content. It's up to you guys. Now it's once you get the like a basic concept for flex, you can play around with the align item, align content. So to continue with the align content, so I'm going to type it align content. So sorry, that will be align content. Oh, sorry guys. So that will be align and then content. And then if I say like easier, you know, so center, if I save it, now you can see that everything squished to the center. And then I can see that a little bit like, I mean, like, so they are like cut it to the center and also keeping the gap exactly the same. So that's the way to set it up. I can play around. And also the other thing, not just the like align, like I mean, like content to be centered, you know, we have other values. So if you type it align content, and then now you can see a little bit list pop up, and then we can play around. We have a baseline, center, and if I use a baseline, so we're gonna have a little bit cut it to the top, and then that will be baseline. If I go to the align content, so it's the same thing, align items, it will be like a top and bottom, but the way this if you see the like just now, if I like cut it off, I mean, like, so it's a cascade, you know. So if you use like go back to your align item, so that's a little bit different way to align it, you know. So it's they have its own way to align it. So if I use a baseline, so yeah, it's the same. So the baseline for align item, align content. But what if like align item, so I want it like a center, or like what if like I mean like flex and instead. So to start it out, see a little bit different. It's you can play around, guys. So that will be flex and it doesn't make anything different. And also it depends on your width and height, and also it depends on your like I mean like the parent container. So what if we just like remove it, flex, grow, and then shrink from our like I mean individual element, so that we can see. So this time it's not for like stretching or I mean anything, you know. So because I want to see a little bit alignment and then just define container, so I'm going to remove it all the flex, so keep it as a default. So I'm going to comment it out, so to see a little bit different, and then comment it out. So if I save it, and then this will be commented out. If I save it, and then now you can see that like a little bit like we have like alignment we can play around. So okay, so now I'm gonna go back to my align item. If I say center, so to see a little different, so now that will be this way. I mean, like, so align center, does that make, so I think because of the baseline, you know. So to start it out, back to my align item, start with the item, so that will be top and bottom. So that's like align item ways to align it, so you can see that like a top and bottom alignment. And also align like align item, and so that will be, we have like I mean like, so baseline and then first baseline. If you do that way, so now you can see that will be first baseline. I mean like, so it will start with the like the top, and then the I mean second line also it will start with the top. If you make it larger screen, it will be the same. I mean, so that will be aligned that way. And also what if we just do it like I mean like align item, and the other thing will be, what if we just say like align content, so just align content. If I say, you can play around, guys. I mean, like, so that will be center. If I say center, now you can see that all item will be aligned to the center. I think align items might not be really like useful. And also, what if we just do it like align content as align, so that will be align and then content. So if I sorry, that will be align content. So that will be, if you save like space around, so to test it out. So if I save space around, oh, now you can see that it will be evenly spaced around. It's similar to the align item, you know. So it's an alignment, so it was spaced around. But what if I want to push it like left and right? So to left and right is just define content, so that will be horizontal alignment. So to do that, so I will go back to my parent container, and also like just define content. These are, I mean, you can play around, so you just have to like practice with your like properties like memory, you know. So that will be just define content. If I say center, so it will push it to the left and right center. And also, like I said, we have a just define content, and then I can play around with the end first, so it's up to you. And also the most we use space around. If you use a space around, so now that will be like a little bit spacing around. And also I can like play around with the what if we just use it like justifying content, so using with the like so space, so that will be space evenly. So if I say space evenly, so now you can see that a little bit better, compared to the around, so that will be evenly distributed. So that's how, so that's why like if you make a flex, set it up, and then now you can see that your pictures are like a little bit galleries. So you can play around with the evenly, so that will be space evenly. And also like our menu, we applying it space between, so just test it out, just define content and then space between. So if I save it, so now you can see the space between. So it will start with your like a parent container, and then as long as it has like a width and height like a big enough, so it will start from the starting point and then cut it like attach it to the like edge, so that will be like based on your parent container. If you remove your parent width and height, so let's test it out. So I will comment it out width and height from it. So now you can see that it will automatically like attach it. So that's how we're gonna like alignment our item. So it depends on you guys. So that's we have already learned the basic concept, and then so the gallery or like justify align content, justify like an item, so it will be your like the other thing so that will be justify item. So you might be thinking, if you see like a justify item, so it will not like it will not have like applying to the like any element in your flex, because justify items is not for flex. So one thing to know, so these justify item, any amount you set, so it will be ignore. Because justify item, I believe, is for grid, because we have a flex, we have a grid, so that will be for grid. So it will be ignore. So justify item, so it doesn't work in flex, so that's why I will remove it. So that's one thing to know. And then you won't get it. You can play around. So justify content, play around with your size and height. So now you can get it that way. And also space evenly. So I think space evenly will be better if you go it like justify content. If I save it, yeah, so that will be evenly. So now you can have it like even spread it like your pictures are like it has we do not define any width and height for parent, so now you can get it that way. And also, what if like align item, and the what if we just do that like align item is like a top and bottom. So to do the top and bottom, I think we need like a height to be defined, so because you can do the width to be auto, and then so that will be width. I'm going to define it to be auto or 100%, so you can do that. So we have a different concept, different way to do it. So the height, so that will be like 800 pixel, so that we can apply like a align item, so that we can see. So that will be that way. So you want it that way. So now evenly distribute that. So align it top and bottom. So if you want it that way, we can do that too. So that will be, so keep in mind that we have, so to recap, align items. So that will be top and bottom for your item. And then if I say like you can do that like all the like flex start and you can play around here in the list, but for me center will be a little bit useful. So if I save it center, so that will be top and align like an item. And also if you put it like a align item, so to be like a baseline, so that will be cut to the top. So I believe it should have cut to the top, so that will be, I think we don't have a width, or let me like comment it out. So that will be a line item. If I save it, yeah, so that should have cut it up, because all the properties are applying to each other. So that's why I'm gonna like a baseline where should have cut it to the top. And also like we have a justify align items will be top and bottom, and also align content. Do not forget, align content also same method. It will be top and bottom. So align content is a little bit different way. If you do the align content to the center, what it does is now we see that like a gap is not like a owner, so but you see the align content. If you save it, now it will be like cut it to the center, and then your gap is a little bit ornery. So gap will be as a priority. I mean, if I increase my gap to be like 30, or like say if you put it like a 50 pixel, so gap is a priority, you know, so that will be aligned content. I mean, so that will be aligned to the center, and then keep your gap as a priority. If you say like 20 pixel, that will cut it 20 pixel. And also to the gap, I mean, so since we are talking about a gap, so even I don't have my content talk about it, the gap, you know, we have like a gap we can play around. I mean, so column gap, and then we have a gap to be like a row gap. So to do that, so I can play with the row gap. I mean, so let's say if I say like, I mean, so the column, or to test it out, you know, so column gap, I say like a 10 pixel to test it out. If I save now, it will squeeze a little bit. And also I can say like a row gap. So if I say like 10 pixel, so I can define it my row. So now you can see a little bit, we can define it. I mean, so if I say row gap, like I mean, so like a 50 pixel, my row gap will be this way. I mean, it will be getting to that way. So that's a knowledge guide. I mean, so even we might not need everything. Okay, so that will be align content. So that will be top and bottom. Align item, so that will be top and bottom. And also justifying content, so that will be left and right. Like I said, justifying content is a left and right. You can do the, I like it like a space evenly, you know, so if you do it space evenly, so you're gonna have it space evenly, but make sure that you're not applying all the like a cascade, you know, so you have to like play around with one item. For teaching purpose, I'm gonna keep it that way. Now you can see that space evenly is already like keeping space around. You can do the space like a between, so to cut it like a start with the edge. So if you do the space like between, so if I save it, now it will start from an edge, then you can have it that way. So it's also not bad. I mean, if we have a larger screen, the flex will be automatically cut it to the top, you know, so that's the way we want it. You can do that. So it depends on you. Okay guys, so that will be, I think we talk about it like a justifying content and horizontal alignment. Align item, align content, that will be only for flex wrap. Yep, so you test it out. And also like a vertical alignment. So, and also the end will be Figma. I mean, so it's not very big deal, but what if we just go back to the Figma, and then I want to show you a little bit. So if you want to distribute item in Figma, so you draw any icon, and then you can give a value to it. So if you want to like a round shape, go to your tab here. So that will be like, I mean, so this appearance, you know, so you can do that your like a corner. So if I put it 20 pixel, you have a little corner shape. You want it more, you can put it like a 30 pixel. You have this icon. You want it text, so you can place the text here. You can type it like a text, and then if you want to change it, so now what I can do is I can change it like a text to be like, I mean, like instead of 20 pixel, go to like 48 pixel. So if you want it that way, set it up. You want to align it, you can use the align item, position. And also like I said, I mean, so I'm going to group it. If you want to group in your Figma, just press Ctrl G, that you can group it. And now it's become a one group. And now you can distribute it like, I mean, so we have learned in my, like, I mean, so the CSS, you know, so horizontal, I want to distribute it. Let's say I have this like a distributing, like it's not like a space is not correct. But in Figma, if you want it like a distributed evenly, so what I can do is go to your like all the elements, select it, and then also go to the like this like I mean a position, you know, go to your this three dot, so that will be more actions, click it, and then you can do the like a distribute horizontally spacing. So if you click that one, bang, now you're gonna have it. That's a Figma way to distribute it. Now you can see that evenly they're gonna like adjust it like a space between. And then if you see the pink like a margin here, you can play around with how long do you want it, how much gap do you want it. That's how you can play in your Figma. And also the vertically, so to do that, I'm gonna select all and make a group. So vertical distribution is the same thing. Now I'm gonna like copy it. So you want to copy, like press Alt and then drag it. So you're gonna copy it that way. So let's say that's a vertically. So I have this really big gap. It's not aligning. So if you want it like a vertical alignment distribution in Figma, so I can do that like go to your more tab in position too. So go to position. If you want it like a vertical distribution, you know, so just go distribute vertical. If you press it, bang, now you're gonna have it vertically. It's gonna be like spaced evenly. That's how we can align in a Figma. So now you can see everything's left and right is like spaced evenly, and also top and bottom it's distributed so equal amount. So that's how we can do that, like a distribution in your Figma, guys. So that will be like a little bit knowledge. So if I go back to my website, and then today we have learned, to recap it, so talk about everything like a flex direction, and also container, parent, child, and also string grow. We talk about it. Wrapping, we talk about it, and also align item, align content. So play around with it, space between all these. It's up to you guys. So okay, so that will be like so I will keep it evenly. So if you say yep, so that will be better. Okay guys, so I'm gonna stop my tutorial here. So thank you for watching, and then I believe you have a little bit takeaway from this tutorial. If you do so, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notification, and like it, share it, and I hope to see you in next tutorial.